Autobots, roll out!
Hello and welcome to That's Just Prime, and today we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Titanium Optimal Optimus, and I love this toy. Originally released in October of 2006, this guy retailed for approximately $7, and Optimal is a very interesting figure and a character as well, because he is a quadruple changer. Well, the character himself is a quadruple changer. This particular figure is not. But he was kind of a crazy toy, because the way they explained it was in the cartoon, you know, you had Optimal, or Optimus, who was a robot that transformed into a monkey or a gorilla, and then later a mechanical gorilla when he went into the transmetals. And then later on in the third season, to save Optimus Prime, the original Optimus Prime, he took his spark and he put it in his own chest, which kind of morphed him and gave him this crazy truck mode that also had a flight mode, because Optimus Primal had a flight mode as well. So what they came up with was this quadruple changer that had these four crazy modes. He had a robot mode, he had a mechanical ape mode, and then he had this truck mode, which you see right here in front of you, which also turned into some sort of a crazy looking jet or a truck with a flight mode. So it was crazy, and they did manage to get all four of those modes in the big toy. However, for the Titanium release, we only got three of those modes. We've got the truck mode right here, the flight mode, which we'll go into in a little bit, but the flight mode kind of feels more like an afterthought. It doesn't feel like it was very well executed. And then we've got the robot mode, so we don't actually get an ape mode or a gorilla mode with an Optimus Primal or an Optimal Optimus. It's kind of weird that we're getting a Primal from that series that does not turn into an ape. So, enough with the convoluted history lesson. Let's get into the review. Here in truck mode, Optimal Optimus is approximately 7.5 inches long and about 2.5 inches tall. And this is that crazy truck mode which he had in the show, and the titanium figure here does a pretty good job of representing that. He rolls relatively well. Now, of course, you can see a lot of the robot mode parts in this mode. You can see obviously his arms are right here, and you've got his hands right here holding this wheel, and you can see the head sticking out right there at the top. Now, being a titanium figure, this is a line that was riddled with all kinds of problems. It was a great concept. It was just not executed very well, because a lot of the titanium figures tended to have issues with holding in place or just falling apart or whatnot, because they used a combination of die-cast and plastic. And what you ended up with was parts that were heavier than they needed to be, and other parts that were too light, trying to hold very heavy parts. And a lot of times you get things that don't really hold in place the way they should. You'll see that a lot better when we get into the jet mode with this guy. But yeah, for example, just now when I went to pick him up, you saw that arm just kind of popped off, because that's supposed to peg into place right there, and it doesn't really do a really good job of doing that. There are other places where there isn't even anywhere to peg it. You just kind of got to put it in place where it belongs and just kind of keep it there. But yeah, just looking at the truck all the way around, there you go. It's you got one wheel in the front, and then you've got four wheels on the back right there. And again, you can see his toes for his robot mode, and you got some wings right here on the side. But you know, he does a pretty good job of rolling, so I guess mission accomplished there. You've got these cannons here. You don't really use these for truck mode, but at least not in the show. But it's your toy. You can do what you want with it, so you can go ahead and pop those out if you want to give them in attack mode for the truck mode. So there it is. There's the truck mode. Now going again real quick into the flight mode, because it just kind of seems like an afterthought. So what we're going to do is we'll take the back wheels here and we'll flip these up. And then I'm not really sure if the titanium called for this or not, but I know the big figure does. On the big figure, if you look at these little circles down here, these are supposed to be kind of thrusters. So on the big figure, when you go into flight mode, you actually straighten out his feet like so. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for this guy. And then you're going to pop off his arms, and you're going to kind of straighten these out and give him kind of a Superman pose. It really does just look like he's doing the Superman here. Go ahead and take his wheel, put that away. It just tucks underneath and just stays like that. And you can take out his, you're actually supposed to take out his guns for the flight mode. These are supposed to be deployed. And finally, we're just going to extend his wings. And as you can see, with the arms especially here, nothing really pegs into place, so these guys are just going to go all over the place as you're trying to like pose them or just kind of sit them down or whatever. So that is pretty much your flight mode, which it really just does look like a robot doing the Superman pose. But here in jet mode, the proportions are the same. He's still 7.5 inches long. He's about 2.5 inches tall, but he does have a wingspan of about 8 inches, which is pretty impressive that they did a flying toy with a wingspan that's actually wider than his length, which is impressive because you don't see that very often. So there you go. There's the flat mode. You can put him down. I don't know how good he's going to look if you put him down, but there you go. You see, nothing really stays straight. You kind of just have to keep adjusting everything and hope it stays in place, but there you go. And see, and then there's another one with the hips right there, where what are going to become the hips. You can see that just really doesn't want to hold into place. So, that was a lot of the issues with the titanium line right there. So there you go. There's your flight mode. And then getting into the robot mode, we're kind of halfway there. So I'm going to put these away for now. Go ahead and extend the legs right here, and those are going to separate as well. And now we're gonna, let's see. We got them right where we want them, so we're gonna leave them just like that. Straighten out the arms right here at the front, and then the wings, you're just gonna kind of fold them up like so. Let's see, what do we want to do next? Okay, go ahead and take the waist right here. This guy's gonna rotate down to here, just like so. And then we're gonna take what was the cockpit right here? These are kind of sort of pegged in into the front there, so go ahead and just pull that off, and this whole thing is going to rotate up like so. And when you do that, you're going to want to take this wheel and tuck it in there. There's a little cavity right in the chest for the wheel, and then this guy has these tiny little pegs. I don't know how well those are showing off, but there's tiniest little pegs right there. There's 2 little ports on the inside of the chest. It doesn't do a very good job of pegging in, but at least it serves as a bit of a guide to kind of show you where the chest needs to be, and it holds okay, I guess. Go ahead and straighten out the arms here, and finally we're just going to pop up the head and turn around. And there is Optimal Optimus in robot mode, and there we go. It actually does clip into place, so you got to push on them a little bit, but it does click into place. So there's Optimal Optimus in robot mode. And I think this is the mode that he looks the best in. I really do love this robot mode. Optimal Optimus was a mode that I really dug a lot in the show. I like the big toy. I love it a lot. And I love this titanium. They did a very good job of translating the robot mode into this toy. And he looks fantastic. And this is where I'm going to give him a pass. He does actually do a good job of representing the truck. Or, if you want to call it the truck, the transport mode, whatever, the vehicle mode. Yeah, it's a crazy looking truck mode, but the toy does a good job of representing that. And this robot mode does a very good job of representing the robot from the show. And here in robot mode, you don't have a lot of the issues that you had with titanium lines, where, for example, right here with the leg extension, you saw where these guys just extended out right here. Many of the titanium toys would not hold in place, so whenever you stood them up, they would have a tendency to just drop back down again, and then you can never get them to stand all the way up like they're supposed to. A perfect example of that would have been Soundwave. Soundwave is really bad about that. Optimal here does a very good job with his legs of staying extended all the way, so he doesn't give you those issues. And the arms also do a good job of staying up when you pose them up like that. A lot of the other titaniums, if you tried to do this, the arms would just drop back down again. So Optimal does a good job of holding his pose, and for that, I really think this is one of the better titanium toys. I really do enjoy this figure a lot. So let's give him a cool little pose right here. Here in robot mode, once again, Optimus is approximately 5 inches tall at the top of the head, so about 6 if you want to go to the top of the wings here. As far as detail goes and paint job, he's got a really nice paint job, and again, he is detailed to look a lot like the show. So, all the crazy colors, you got them here, but I want to come in here, get in close, and look at this head, because I really like the head sculpt on this guy. I was a big fan of the head sculpt for Optimal Optimus, and I like both the toys, the big one and this one. And hopefully that's translating well. I don't know how the lighting is capturing that, but yeah, he's got a very cool head sculpt that is actually very accurate to the one on the show. And you got to love a toy that does that. When they got accuracy, when the toys translate the accuracy from the show, you just got to love that. As far as articulation goes, see right here the chest, it doesn't, see how that just slid up on me? it doesn't do a good job of holding in place, but it at least shows you where it's supposed to go. So for articulation, you got a rotation on the head. You saw that. You don't have an up and down, but I guess you can tilt it upwards like I did just now to show it off. So you can do that if you want, but it's not really part of the articulation. One step that I did forget is you are actually supposed to extend out the shoulders like so. So let me get those out like that. Yep, let me correct myself there. So that is actually the correct pose for the arms right there for robot mode. So that's actually better because that is going to give them a little better set of articulation when it comes to the shoulders, because now you can extend the arms outward that far at least, where before you couldn't do it. So there you go. That was my mistake. You can also go all the way around with the shoulders. You've got a ball jointed elbow, so you've got some forward and backwards, and you've got a rotation right there. You got a ball jointed wrist, so again you've got some tilting, and you've got rotation and whatnot for that. You do not have a waist rotation, which is a bit of a shame. You can, because of the transformation, I guess you can kind of tilt his chest upward some, so that's up to you. You've got universal joints on the hips right there, so you can go in and out, forward and backwards. And again, now keep in mind that these are plastic joints going into die-cast metal parts, so these are prone to some wear after a while. So, but at least on mine, I haven't messed with them too much, and he's still holding steady, so that's nice. You have a rotation at the knee. You do have a universal joint right there at the knee as well. So you've got a little bit of a ratchet. So you got a little bit of a bend right there at the knee. Not much, but at least you can give him some cool dynamic poses, just like so. And in the transformation, you have a little bit of tilt on the ankle. Again, only forward tilt, no back tilt. So there you go. There's Optimal Optimus in robot mode, and I think he looks pretty cool. Check that out right there. That is a pretty cool pose for this guy. Now, one more thing that this guy does this is cool because the big toy didn't do this. He did this in the show, and the big toy doesn't do that. Is once again these cannons right here. The fact that these cannons are put away. You see on the shell, the cannons were usually put away, and he would deploy them whenever he was in a fight. He would actually do that. Now, the big toy does have the cannons, but they're always deployed. You don't have the option of putting the cannons away like you do with the titanium figure. So for that, I give it bonus points because I think that is a really, really neat feature. One that I really do wish that the big toy had. It's kind of a point against it on the big toy. But on this guy, he does it, so I like him. In fact, why don't we just leave the cannons deployed for the end of the review here, just so you have an Optimus looking all badass right there. There we go. That's cool. I really like that. That is a cool little pose for him. I think he's going to go on when he goes back on my shelf, he's going to go like that because I'm enjoying that pose. And I think that about does it for Transformers Titanium Optimal Optimus. This is a short review on this one. So there you go. What did you think of this figure? And what would you like to see me review next? Let me know by leaving me a comment. Give me some thumbs up. Subscribe and share with your friends if you like what you see. And I'll talk to you next time on That's Just Prime.